Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a moment in every life when the universe whispers a truth so powerful that it can break us or build us, and that truth is this: nothing meaningful, nothing lasting, nothing extraordinary is ever achieved without sacrifice. We all want success, we all want growth, we all want the doors of destiny to swing wide open for us, but the universe does not respond to wishes. It responds to what we are willing to give up so that we can rise into who we are meant to become. Nothing meaningful is achieved without sacrifice because every significant accomplishment in life requires an exchange, an intentional release of something that no longer serves us in order to grow into a stronger, wiser, more capable version of ourselves. Sacrifice is not about suffering or punishment. It is the conscious choice to give up what is easy so we can reach what is extraordinary. When we look at anyone who has achieved greatness, whether in career, relationships, spiritual growth, or personal discipline, we find that their success was built on countless unseen decisions, countless moments where they chose long-term vision over short-term comfort. This truth applies to every person because success is never accidental. It is crafted through commitment, shaped through discipline, and held in place by the sacrifices we make along the way. What sacrifice really means is letting go of the old to make space for the new. You cannot fill a cup that is already full, and you cannot become a new person while clinging to the habits of the old one. Many people want success but refuse to release the things that keep them stagnant. Fear, procrastination, toxic relationships, comforts, own routines, or the belief that things will simply work out without effort. Success demands that you show the universe you are ready by demonstrating it through action. That action often looks like staying up an extra hour to work on a dream, waking up earlier to build discipline, walking away from distractions, breaking patterns that no longer reflect the person you aspire to be, or choosing growth even when it feels uncomfortable. Sacrifice becomes the silent promise you make to yourself, a declaration that your future matters more than temporary pleasure. Sacrifice also strengthens identity. Every time you give something up for a greater purpose, you teach your mind that you are capable of commitment, that you can trust yourself. This internal trust becomes the foundation upon which success is built. The moment you choose sacrifice, you are no longer living reactively. You are living intentionally, and intentional living is the pathway to every meaningful goal. When you sacrifice what is unnecessary, you free energy, attention, and emotional space for what truly matters. It is not the sacrifice itself that transforms you, but who you become in the process, someone focused, disciplined, hungry, and aligned with their true potential. In the end, success is never the reward of luck. It is the reflection of what you were willing to let go of so that you could rise. The universe responds to what you're willing to release because every dream, every goal, and every transformation is tied to the energy you create through your choices. When you hold on tightly to old beliefs, old habits, and old versions of yourself, you unconsciously signal to life that you are not ready for something new. You cannot move forward while keeping a firm grip on what pulls you backward. The universe doesn't reward desire alone. It responds to alignment, and alignment is created through the willingness to let go. It's easy to say you want success, peace, or purpose, but if your actions show that you are still attached to distractions, comfort zones, and excuses, you are sending a mixed message that keeps you stuck in place. Letting go is the way you prove, not to the world, but to yourself, that you are truly ready for the next chapter. When you release what no longer belongs in your life, you create an energetic vacuum, an open space that invites new opportunities, new habits, and new levels of growth. Life is always trying to move you forward, but it cannot do that if your hands are full of yesterday's limitations. Releasing is a signal of trust, a declaration that you are willing to surrender what is familiar in exchange for what is possible. So many people stay in the same patterns because they fear losing what they already have, even if what they have is slowing them down. But the truth is, nothing great ever enters your life without something lesser being released. You cannot hold fear and courage at the same time. You cannot hold procrastination and progress at the same time. You cannot hold limiting beliefs and limitless potential at the same time. Something must be sacrificed, and the moment you choose to release the lesser, you step into alignment with the greater. This principle applies to everything, from relationships that drain your energy to habits that steal your time, from thoughts that limit yourself, belief to routines that keep you small. When you let these go, even if it's uncomfortable at first, you shift your internal frequency. You become lighter, more focused, more open, and that openness is what the universe responds to. It begins to send opportunities, insights, synchronicities, and people who match your new level of clarity. You start noticing pathways you couldn't see before because your mind was cluttered with what you refused to release. Letting go is not losing, it is aligning. It is telling life, I am ready for more. And the moment your inner world reflects readiness, the outer world begins to rearrange itself to match your new direction. Letting go creates space for growth because the mind, like a room, cannot welcome anything new if it remains cluttered with the old. Many people hold on to familiar habits, beliefs, and situations not because they serve them, but because they are comfortable. Yet growth cannot take root in soil that is already crowded with weeds of fear, doubt, and past disappointments. When you let go, truly let go, you open the door for transformation to enter. It is not the act of letting go that feels powerful at first, it's the freedom that follows. Holding on may feel safe, but it quietly suffocates your potential. Releasing what has expired in your life allows fresh possibilities, new insights, and higher levels of strength to rise within you. Growth always asks for room. If your mind is consumed by negativity, you have no space for confidence. If your heart is tangled in old hurts, you have no room for peace. If your daily routine is filled with distractions, you have no time for purpose. The moment you begin clearing out what drains you, whether it's toxic relationships, stagnant environments, limiting thoughts, or numbing behaviors, you begin shifting your emotional and mental landscape. That shift creates a sense of inner spaciousness, a lightness that makes growth not only possible, but inevitable. Think of a garden. If you never pull the dead plants, the new seeds will struggle to grow. In the same way, your life blossoms only after you remove what no longer nourishes your spirit. Letting go also invites clarity. When you detach from what does not align with your future, you start seeing where you truly want to go. Your mind becomes quieter, your decisions become cleaner, your path becomes clearer. Clarity itself is a form of growth, because once you see your direction, you naturally begin moving toward it. This is why people often feel stuck, not because growth is impossible, but because their inner world is too cluttered to recognize the opportunities standing right in front of them. Releasing creates openness, and openness invites insight, creativity, and renewed energy. Most importantly, letting go shifts your identity. You stop being the person defined by old pain or old patterns and start becoming the person shaped by intention and possibility. Growth is not something you force, it is something you allow. And you allow it by loosening your grip on the past, on the familiar, on the comfortable. The moment you choose release, you choose expansion, you choose evolution, you choose the chance to become someone greater than you were yesterday. Sacrifice is the gatekeeper to elevation because every step forward in life asks you to leave something behind. Growth demands change, and change demands the willingness to release what weighs you down. When you stand at the base of your personal mountain, your goals, your dreams, your higher self, you quickly realize you cannot climb while carrying everything from your past. Fear, doubt, distraction, and comfort are heavy burdens, and they cling to you like anchors. Elevation requires lightness, it requires intention, it requires a conscious decision to let go of what no longer aligns with who you are becoming. Every level of life has a cost, and the price is always the same, the old version of you. This is why sacrifice is not punishment, it is preparation. It shapes you into someone capable of handling the success waiting at the top. When you begin climbing, the mountain tests you, not to break you, but to refine you. It asks, how badly do you want this? Every time you choose discipline over excuses, you prove your readiness. Every time you choose courage over fear, you rise a little higher. Every time you let go of a limiting habit, you step closer to the summit. Sacrifice is not a single dramatic moment. It is a series of consistent choices that signal your commitment. It is the invisible work done in silence when no one is applauding. Those sacrifices become your strength, your clarity, and your momentum. Without them, your climb stalls. With them, you gain the stamina to keep going even when the path becomes steep. Elevation also requires the sacrifice of comfort. The comfort zone is familiar, predictable, and safe, but it is also the place where dreams quietly fade. To ascend, you must be willing to feel discomfort, to stretch beyond what feels easy. Success belongs to those who step into uncertainty with faith that the view from the top is worth the climb. Every meaningful achievement in history was shaped by someone willing to sacrifice ease for greatness. They chose temporary discomfort for long-term fulfillment, and that choice opened doors that comfort would have kept closed. As you rise, the sacrifices become more internal. You begin releasing old identities, outdated beliefs, and the stories you've told yourself about what you can or cannot do. The higher you climb, the more you must let go of who you used to be, and with each release, the mountain reveals another path upward. Sacrifice clears the way. It sharpens your focus, strengthens your spirit, and aligns your energy with the life you are striving for. Elevation is not a matter of luck or talent. It is the result of persistent, intentional sacrifice, a declaration that you are ready to rise. Real transformation happens internally because the outer changes people seek success, confidence, peace, purpose, can only take root when the inner world is aligned with them. Many individuals try to change their circumstances without first changing the thoughts and beliefs that created those circumstances. They want new results but carry old mindsets. True transformation begins the moment you start sacrificing the internal patterns that limit you. When you let go of blame, you reclaim responsibility. When you release doubt, you create space for belief. When you stop entertaining the familiar voice that says you can't, you awaken the deeper truth that you always could. Internal sacrifice is not about losing anything important. It is about removing the inner barriers that keep you from meeting your highest potential. Thoughts shape behavior, behavior shapes habits, and habits shape destiny. This chain begins in the mind. If your thoughts remain the same, your life remains the same. Real change comes from shifting the inner narrative that guides your decisions. That shift often requires letting go of comforting but limiting beliefs. Beliefs that have protected you but also confined you. Many people hold on to fear because it feels safe, or to self. Doubt because it feels familiar, or to excuses because they shield them from discomfort. But those inner anchors keep the mind stuck in old patterns. Releasing them can feel unsettling at first, but it is the only way to make room for the identity that success requires. Transformation is not about adding more. It is about removing what blocks your inner power. The inside-out process is also what makes transformation lasting. External changes, new environments, new goals, new habits cannot sustain themselves if the inner mindset is still rooted in insecurity or hesitation. You can change your schedule, but if you don't believe in your own capability, you will eventually return to old routines. You can change your surroundings, but if you don't change your thinking, you'll recreate the same problems wherever you go. Internal sacrifice stabilizes external progress because it aligns your inner world with the outer life you want to build. This alignment creates a state of internal coherence, where your thoughts, intentions, and actions support one another instead of battling each other. As you release limiting beliefs, you uncover strength you didn't know existed. As you abandon excuses, you discover discipline hidden beneath them. As you let go of inner resistance, you begin to move with clarity instead of confusion. Internal transformation isn't loud or dramatic. It is quiet, steady, and powerful. It's the moment you stop waiting for circumstances to change and begin changing the parts of yourself that shape those circumstances. When the inner shift happens, the outer world naturally follows, because life always mirrors the state of your mind and the strength of your spirit. Your sacrifice becomes your strength because every meaningful step you take toward a better life requires you to make a choice that stretches you beyond your current limits. In the beginning, sacrifice feels like loss of comfort, loss of routine, loss of the familiar. But with time, you begin to realize that what you were letting go of was not strength, but weight. The very act of choosing discipline over distraction, consistency over excuses, and purpose over comfort begins shaping you into someone more resilient, more focused, and more capable than before. Every sacrifice you make becomes a silent contribution to the person you are becoming. What once felt difficult becomes natural. What once felt impossible becomes part of your identity. Strength is not something you are born with. It is something built through countless moments where you choose growth over ease. Sacrifice also teaches you commitment. When you give something up for a vision, you prove to yourself that your future matters enough to protect it. Commitment strengthens character. It reinforces the belief that you are capable of following through, capable of showing up for yourself, and capable of holding a higher standard even when no one is watching. The more you commit, the stronger your resolve becomes. It's the internal confidence that grows from keeping your promises, even the silent ones you make only to yourself. Sacrifice becomes the training ground where discipline is formed, and discipline eventually becomes your power. This process also increases your emotional and mental endurance. When you willingly let go of old habits or comfort zones, you train your mind to adapt, stretch, and overcome. You learn that you can handle discomfort, that you can sustain effort, that you can keep going even when the path becomes demanding. Each time you push through resistance, you build psychological muscles. These inner muscles prepare you for bigger challenges, bigger opportunities, and bigger responsibilities. Strength doesn't come from staying in what is easy. It grows from leaning into what asks more of you. The most profound strength that comes from sacrifice is the transformation of identity. When you sacrifice old patterns, you stop identifying yourself as someone who settles, avoids, or hesitates. Instead, you start seeing yourself as someone who works, grows, and perseveres. Sacrifice gradually changes the way you view yourself. It rewrites the internal story you tell about your capabilities. You begin to trust your potential because you have evidence that you can rise above comfort and choose what truly matters. This identity shift becomes the foundation of unshakable confidence. It is the strength that guides you not only through the challenges of today, but the opportunities of tomorrow. Every sacrifice you make becomes a brick laid in the construction of a stronger, more powerful, more disciplined version of yourself.